Some of the books that I highly recommend for any beginners that's starting up in this astronomy journey is the Pocket Sky Atlas from Sky and Telescope. I mean, they have amazing resources on all the maps, especially for the night sky. You can easily start up if you have a Telrad finder or even a right angle finder scope. You can use that to in complement with this book to guide you and show you how to pretty much jump to your target that you want to use. It's a brilliant book. It's a brilliant startup sky map that I totally recommend. Everyone who owns a telescope should have one of these, right? And the other book that I'll totally recommend as well for beginners is this one, Night Watch: A Practical Guide to Viewing the Universe by Terence Dickinson. Amazing book, great resource. And of course the infamous book as well, you've probably heard of it, which is called Turn Left at Orion. That is also another great book. So that's pretty much it for the basic books that you would like to own in your library. Get hold of those knowledge before actually taking your scope out for a great session. So these are basically the Planetary cameras that I personally use and highly recommend. For beginners, especially those who are new to the hobby, I would highly recommend the ASI 120 MC. As you can see here. Now this version of mine is a USB 2.0 version, but of course you can actually get them the USB 3.0 version, which means that you're going to get a much higher frame rate capture compared to the USB 2.0 version. So this one is very economical and personally recommended. Now ASI 120 is the model. The MC, the C stands for the color version. So you want to get a color version, especially if you own a Dobsonian like that one. So you want a color version. You don't want to go for the monochrome version because the monochrome records in black and white, and you're going to need separate filters to actually extract the color data out of it. So that's pretty much mostly used for a telescope that has its own tracking mount. So for a manual Dobsonian scope, I highly recommend this ASI 120 MC. And of course, if you have the extra funding, extra money, to go on and spend a little more, you can always get the ASI 290 MC, which has a much bigger sensor. If you look at it inside, compared to this ASI 120 smaller sensor. So yeah, this one has higher frame rate and it has much bigger resolution. And of course, when it comes to planetary images, you don't actually need a big resolution. That's the best part, right? But of course, when you have a higher resolution like this, it means that you have much bigger region of interest, which means you can crop much more compared to the smaller sensor version of this. So yeah, either one of this is going to work great for you. But for starters, ASI 120 MC is a highly recommended camera for imaging the moon, the planets, and etc. They're pretty much a great planetary imaging camera here, right? This is amazing. This is developed by ZWO camera company. ASI camera, very famous. Pretty much all telescope manufacturer, telescope shops pretty much carry them religiously because it's an amazing camera for an amazing price. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the camera. So yeah, by the way, this is where this ASI 120 MC camera can also be used as a guide scope in the future. Let's say you're moving out from Dobsonian to something that is that has a equatorial mount that has tracking. Then yeah, you can actually use this as your guide scope camera, because you can see here it has a guide scope port right here, which means that you can attach this to your equatorial mount like the Skywatcher HEQ5 Pro, and it can actually send signal to your mount, and you can actually guide the stars to get a better image for longer exposure photography and etc. So yeah, same goes for this. It also has the auto guiding port, but this one is the USB 3.0 version, as you can see, the blue colored port, and this one is the USB 2.0. So yeah, if you want to get USB 2.0, 3.0, definitely get the 3.0 version of this, which is a blue color port, which means that you're going to get a much better frame rate. You're going to get much more data compared to a USB 2.0 one. So this is pretty much it. You just have to run this USB cord. It comes with USB cord and a few other nifty accessories, but yeah, you have to plug this in straight to your laptop, right? And install freeware softwares like SharpCap, which I personally use and is my favorite. Or you can also use a FireCap, which is a capturing software. And yeah, pretty much it. Just there's a lot of tutorial videos out there how to use SharpCap, FireCap. You can check out those videos and see how to actually control the image exposure and all that. But yeah, this is basically pretty much it. So hope this helps. So one of the great accessory that I would highly recommend for anyone who owns the Orion telescope is the to get the right angle 9x50 right angle finder scope that you're looking at over here. It's amazing, you know what this thing does. It collects ample of light and it makes star hopping so easy compared to the red dot finder that you usually get. But of course, if you purchase the I think it's the deluxe version, I'm not sure, of the Orion telescope, you usually should be getting this right angle scope together with the bundle. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as my scope. And that is actually a dolly that I added on as an accessory, so it's easy for me to push the scope around. And yeah, so if you're wondering where exactly pretty much insert the imaging camera for my daily imaging session that I do, it's usually like this. Just take the ZWO camera, all you have to do is just stick it in, and then you just have to tighten the screw, and that's it. And you can just focus it till you get the image in focus, and pretty much it. Same thing goes to as well. If you want to use a Barlow on this thing, you just have to attach the Barlow lens here and then screw it and then just insert that thing inside, and yeah, you'll be able to get focus. So usually when you add Barlow lens, the light amplification is going to go a little darker, so you're not going to get much light, so therefore it could be hard to find your target at first. So what I would do is usually increase the exposure, make it bright, so you're able to find that blob. And when you're able to get the blob into the focus, then I'll reduce the light amplification, which is the exposure, and that brings all the detail on the planets and etc. That's pretty much how I do my session. Right. And by the way, in case you're wondering how to exactly attach a Barlow lens like this one to your camera, it's simple. That's it. Just put it in like that. And just have to screw this, tighten it up, and that's about it. And all you have to do is just insert into that eyepiece holder, and you're all set for a great imaging session. So usually I would use this X3 Barlow lens when the viewing condition is good, because you don't want to use a high magnification, especially if you're having a bad viewing condition, such as high turbulence air, cause all that wavy sea-like movement. That means that you have a lot of hot air turbulence coming out from the ground, so you might want to avoid that. And especially if the planets are actually very low to the horizon, you may not want to do any imaging session during that time. So you want to make sure you get a good capture of those planets when it's high above, to decrease any chances of getting those high atmospheric pressure, turbulence, and all that. So yeah, so pretty much the X2 Barlow is something you use often, and this one only on good days, especially good viewing condition. And of course you can always go to a 5x Barlow lens, but in my opinion it's going to be a little harder to get focus on, because it magnifies the object so much that you only have like within a couple seconds before the object goes out of the frame. So you have to drop in your eyepiece, center the object again, immediately take the eyepiece out and insert this thing inside image, couple seconds, and then when the object moves away, you gotta take this out again, put an eyepiece inside, center the object in the middle, and then put this inside an image. So it's a struggle, but after a while you get used and the hang of it, and that's pretty much it. And of course, like I said, you'll be using software like sharp cap or fire capture, and you know, you can adjust the exposure, check your focus and everything, and start capturing data. And of course, when you already captured a video, you can share it as the video format as it is. And of course, if you want to get hold of a picture, then of course you have to use a stacking software to stack all the images to bring out the details. Now you have to stack images in order to bring out details. If you don't stack, you just take a screenshot of that one photo, it's not going to show any details at all. So that's the trick when it comes to planetary and moon imaging, is that you want to stack the photographs, right? And so for example, if you capture like say about 360 frames within a couple seconds, so you'll run that video software in you'll run the entire video in a software such as the what's the name of it? Let me see. Yeah, Registex. Registex is a great software. So you run it there, and then it will auto stack for you, and you can, you know, fine tune your settings to get the best image.